What's going on, ladies and gents, boys and girls, guardians of all ages, Joker back again, once again, and today, people, we have been given our first look at Witch Queen. So I figured, hey, why not break down the trailer? Now I know what you're thinking, but Joker, there's only like 16 seconds of trailer. And you would be absolutely, positively right, oh contrarian commenter of contrarian comments. But surprisingly enough, there's a few interesting lore references here, 3 at the very least. And no, you do not have to worry about this video containing any conversations about the leaks or spoilers. And I do ask all of my subscribers to please do not post any in the comments below. We will all be able to have a nice little round table about that when I make my official leaks video in a couple of days after I've gone through the leaks properly. And with that out of the way, for anybody who has yet to see the trailer, here you go, oh viewer mine.
Truth is a funny thing.
You know, I just had a funny thought. Season of the Lost releases tomorrow, and we get a Witch Queen teaser while knowing virtually nothing official about Season of the Lost, other than the Queen and Osiris are in it. Oh, and that the Nightfall next week will apparently be Hallowed Lair. I have always liked the end of that strike. Ah, so majestic. Like a crayon-fueled instrument of blunt force trauma in a candy shop. But I digress. We're not here to talk about the season that releases tomorrow. We're here to talk about the DLC that releases 6 months from now. So the first thing we see is our titular Witch Queen walking down an aisle. On this aisle, we see 2 red flowers. Red flowers have had a long-running bit of symbolism throughout the Destiny franchise, always leading back to the Black Garden. In fact, upon seeing these flowers, I was reminded of some Destiny lore. Legends, the Black Garden. I am Punjari. These are the visions that I have had of the Black Garden. The traveler moved across the face of the Iron World. It opened the earth and stitched shut the sky. It made life possible. In these things, there is always symmetry. Do you understand? This is not the beginning, but it is the reason. The garden grows in both directions. It grows into tomorrow and yesterday. The red flowers bloom forever. There are gardeners now. They came into the garden in vessels of bronze, and they moved through the groves and rivers of thought. This is the vision I had when I leapt from the shores of time and let myself sink. I walked beneath the blossoms. The light came from ahead, and the shadows of the flowers were words. They said things, but I will not write them here. At the end of the path grew a flower in the shape of a ghost. I reached out to pluck it, and it cut me with a thorn. I bled, and the blood was light. The ghost said to me, "You are a dead thing made by a dead power in the shape of the dead. All you will ever do is kill. You do not belong here. This is a place of life." "The traveler is life," I said. "You are a creature of the darkness. You seek to deceive me." But I looked behind me, down the long slopes where the blossoms tumble in the warm wind, and the great trees wept sap like blood or wine, and I felt doubt when my ghost raised me from the sea. There was a thorn cut in my left hand, and it has not healed since. Now, we see a lot of this card in the teaser. As Sabathun moves forward into the water, for example, she walks on the line that divides light from darkness. This goes back to an oft-stated axiom within the Destiny universe, that the line between light and darkness is so very thin. Sabathun is an extremely interesting character, as we've talked about before at length. She detests the deal the Hive made with the Worm Gods eons ago, and has been searching for a way to break that deal, or at the very least, sustain her life in perpetuity. And if we account for the fact that she's been Osiris since Season of the Hunt, well, she's actually been a fantastic ally, helping the Light and Guardians. Not necessarily something an agent of the darkness would do. So this scene, in my opinion, embodies the dichotomy of her own character conflict. Now in Sabathun's Royal Bathwater here, we see a bunch of dead simps. This location could be a few places. I've seen people suggest that it's the Dreaming City. I've seen other people suggest that it may be the Awoken Home World, the Distributary, which is kinda like the Dreaming City. It exists in its own pocket dimension, and much like the Dreaming City, Sabathun wanted to break into it and turn it into a perpetual murder battery. But given that Korea is probably dead, I'm guessing that's off the table. That said, we do see a ton of Hive bodies. Which brings us to another popular suggestion I've seen thrown around online, the Hive homeworld of Fundament, which was destroyed in an event called the Ziziji. Quote, Arash, my first daughter, the moons are different, the laws are bent, and he made the sign of the Ziziji. Imagine the 50 moons of Fundament lining up in the sky. It wouldn't take all 50, of course, just a few massive moons. But this is my deepest fear. Imagine their gravity pulling on the Fundament sea, lifting it into a swollen bulge. Imagine that bulge collapsing as the Ziziji passes. A wave, big enough to swallow civilizations. A god wave. The Hive sought to survive this god wave, made a deal with worm gods who may or may not have been Ahamkara. Wish dragon or wish dragon-like creatures seem to pop up wherever the traveler goes. Now, we know via lore that Oryx never returned to Fundament after the Ziziji. But what about Sabathun? Could this be her returning there? Could this perhaps be the moment where she realized her deal with the worm god was a bad deal? So this could be Fundament, sure, or it could be Sabathun's throne world, designed to maybe perhaps resemble Fundament? That would explain the more recent bodies in the water. I mean, after all, eons have passed, so there wouldn't be bodies in the water if she returned to Fundament in her current form. This could be one of her many experiments. Or this could be an ocean that represents her tribute after butchering a bunch of powerful Hive. Kind of like I just killed a bunch of people. Now I'm going to bathe in their blood. Elizabeth Bathory style, which segues nicely into the next part of the video, where I talk about Sabathun's design. It's very Gothic architecture, like she's a living cathedral, straight out of Warhammer or Dark Souls. Her crown is like Gothic spires arching up needle thin towards the sky, with a bridge between them, giving this sort of ornate chalice look. Something that maybe you expect to see Dracula from Castlevania drinking out of, before he dashes it to the ground screaming, "What is a man? A miserable little pile of secrets, but enough talk, have at you!" There's probably some chalice to be filled, or chalice overflowing with knowledge symbolism here. Or maybe we'll just be dunking our balls there. Who knows? I also like the wings that make up the strands of her long dress robe thing. And while there are a lot of fan designs out there that I think are better, this is one of those designs that falls into it's interesting in an unexpected sort of way, because a lot of the fan designs take from Oryx or other Hive. This looks completely alien to all of that, but the design logic for Hive is still there. It's very royal and regal, it has a presence. This whole trailer had like Taken King, but actually not vibes to it. But yeah, that's about it. Let me know what you guys thought of the trailer in the comments below. Please remember to keep all spoilers for future videos where we talk about spoilers. Remember to like, but only if you did. Subscribe for more. Feel free to donate to my Patreon if you're feeling particularly generous. But above all else, stay frosty.